Well, we just gave you an inside look at one of the Toronto-based cannabis stores opening in Ontario today. 24 other locations are also expected to do the same, but some owners haven't even finished construction yet. So here for a look at the bigger picture is Jameson Burko with the Globe and Mail's Cannabis Professional News Service. Jameson, good to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here, Kelsey.
So what's going on? Why are so many stores not ready for today?
Well, there's a number of reasons. I mean, first and foremost, the fact that they only had about 2 months, those 25 stores, they only had about 2 months to prepare. And most retail experts say it takes about 6 months to build out a retail store when you're just leasing an empty space and you need to renovate it and get it up and going. So at the same time of not having as much time as you would expect, a lot of these owners had really no background either in retail or in cannabis or anything. There was a 20-year-old tow truck driver had won, a former family and child therapist was one of the winners. So, I mean, these are just examples of folks who, you know, certainly they're experienced in their field, but this is a whole new area for them. And then, of course, remember, not all of them even made it to April 1st. There's 25 winners. Only about 10 stores across the province are going to open today.
Yeah, and in a whole brand new industry as well. So
Sure.
I imagine at this point there are going to be some penalties for stores that aren't opening today?
That's right. In fact, it's a pretty hefty fine. It's something that the AGCO, the regulator here that runs the pot stores, wants to really resist the idea of a fine. It's a drawdown, they call it, on a $50,000 line of credit that they had to submit as part of their application. So stores not open as of today will see about $12,500 lost. They'll lose the full $50,000 if they're not open by the end of this month, unless they can prove that there were some sort of factors totally beyond their control. But the AGCO certainly, in my conversations with them, made it seem like they're going to enforce these rules pretty strongly.
We just showed a map of where all the stores are, and they're largely located in the lower Great Lakes. What about the rest of the province? When could we see more stores opening, particularly, say, like in Northern Ontario?
Well, there's a couple stores in Northern Ontario. Of course, they're both in Sudbury, which I think is kind of interesting. You know,
it's like
kind
part of Northern
yeah,
Ontario.
you know, Thunder Bay would have qualified as well. I'm sure there's folks up there who are not too pleased that they had been kind of left out. The system says we will not have new stores until December of this year. That's when they'll do the next phase of the lottery. But I speak to a lot of entrepreneurs. In fact, my story in today's Globe and Mail is all about the hundreds of stores that are sitting empty and locked with their owners or their leaseholders waiting for the chance to get a license. Because remember, Kelsey, before this lottery was announced, we were thinking there was going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 pot stores opening in April before they decided to put this cap in place. And a lot of entrepreneurs, as you might imagine, very upset about the idea of having to pay, in many cases, above market rent on stores that have to sit empty for what could be many months. And it kind of raises the question, right? Like, if I wanted to open a toy store, why would the government care whether I can actually get stores on the shelves? They would just want me to go open the store and be an entrepreneur and do my best. But now the government has made this their problem, so they'll have to come up with a solution.
Yeah, I imagine the situation will be evolving over the next couple of weeks and months.
Quite so. And in the meantime, the entire city of Toronto can rely on a single store across the street where Ben may be browsing a few products as we speak.
Who knows? Who knows? Jameson, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure, Kelsey.